Buzzer Radio's Poetry Pieces. The Lonely Easter Egg. A little Easter egg quietly sat upon a shelf. It felt so alone, sitting there all by itself. There was no one to talk to, the rest had all been taken, and you can't have a proper chat with tomatoes, eggs and bacon. There wasn't any customers around, the shop was shut for the night. The Easter egg then heard a sound, it caused a bit of a fright. The chocolate treat had seen it. The sound had been a mouse. This rodent rascal was looking about for food for his family and spouse. The Easter egg just smiled and said, "Hello, mate, how are you?" The mouse, he jumped, turned around and simply said, "You'll do." He said, "You look lonely. I'll help you out of it and call upon my family and we'll take you bit by bit." First thing the next morning, the shopkeeper wore a frown. Seeing all the mouse droppings, he shut the little shop down. This one is called Little Sarah. It happened to be Good Friday, and there, among the sheep, a ewe was struggling giving birth. She was in trouble deep. The shepherd and his wife were there, doing what they could. They may risk losing mother and lamb, but that was understood. There was no time to call a vet, they had to take a chance. They didn't see there was any choice in this circumstance. They managed to save the little lamb, but sadly lost the ewe. The shepherd's wife rushed the tiny thing home to see what she could do. They had a little girl who suffered from cerebral palsy. It broke the poor child's loving heart to think the lamb was poorly. She wrapped it in a blanket to lay it by the fire. But it's only what her mum would have done. The situation was dire. "Don't get your hopes up, Sarah," the young girl's mum then said. But when Don, her father, came home, the shepherd pronounced it dead. Before they knew what was happening, Sarah took it upstairs. Mum said, "Leave her alone for a while. It's only because she cares." The grandmother that was staying said, "I'll go and have a chat." The shepherd's wife then gave a smirk and said, "Good luck with that." When grandmother came back down the stairs, her eyes were sad and misty. "Sarah's having a real meltdown. She's not going to let it go, is she?" The shepherd gave a little smile and said, "Well, it'll keep. I'll go and take it off her as soon as she's asleep." But Sarah wasn't sleeping. The lamb was in her hands. "I have to do my best for you, but no one understands." By now the time was getting late. The shepherd stood up yawning and said, "I'll have no choice but to get rid of it in the morning." Now Sarah was a clever girl, for she knew that this was so. To stop this thing from happening, she decided she must go. Waiting till they're all asleep, her father snoring heavy, Sarah then got out of bed and started to get ready. Because of her condition, this would take a while. Though she found things difficult, Sarah still wore a smile. After wrapping nice and warm, she crept down and found the key. Sarah knew just where it was. She'd been a mischievous girl, you see. With the lamb underneath her clothing, Sarah stepped outside, but she forgot about the door and left it open wide. After walking across the fields, she came to the end of her search. She knew exactly where she was heading and found the abandoned church. Through the old church ruins, Sarah carefully picks and finally settles herself down beneath the crucifix. Back at home when they awoke, for Sarah they were fearful. Well, you can imagine, I am sure, both Mum and Nan were tearful. Looking here and searching there, they couldn't find no peace. I guess it really goes without saying, in the end, they called the police. They finally found little Sarah, and believe this if you can, while she was soundly sleeping, by her feet there pranced a lamb. It was Easter Sunday morning, just at the crack of dawn. Had there been a miracle? Well, the deceased lamb had gone